welcome to the news at 8. Thank you for joining us. I'm Sarah Jacob. Now let's get you updated with all the top headlines of the day. The EC announces poll dates for Bengal, Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Assam beginning March 27th. Results for all 4 states and 1 union territory will be declared on the 2nd of May. The West Bengal elections will be held in 8 phases from March 27 to April 29th, making it the longest ever polls in the state. Mamata Banerjee asks, who will benefit from such long polls? Asks, has this been done at the instance of Narendra Modi and Amit Shah? Tamil Nadu, Puducherry and Kerala will have 1 round of polling on the 6th of April. Assam will also start voting for March 27th in 3 phases. Election officials are frontline workers and they will be vaccinated, says the Chief Election Commissioner. The centre tells states to speed up vaccinations. Bookings to be made through the COVID 2.0 and Arogya Setu app, but no vaccinations this weekend due to the COVID digital platform needing upgrading for the 2nd phase of the vaccination program. India's economy now out of a technical recession after 2 consecutive quarters of degrowth. GDP grows at a marginal 0.4% in the December quarter. At 1.6%, manufacturing lists positive after 5 quarters. Agriculture reports the highest growth in 3 quarters. The Sensex crashes 1,939 points, posts the worst day in 11 months amidst a global sell-off. The Nifty ends at 14,529. Arvind Kejriwal holds a Thanksgiving roadshow after his Aam Aadmi Party's big victory in the civic body polls in Surat. Says, give us 5 years, we'll do what the others haven't in 25. All right, the first of many top stories tonight. Speed up the number of vaccinations being administered. The centre has said to states the weekend before India's COVID vaccination drive will open up for those over 60 and for those over 45 years with comorbidities, and at both government and private hospitals. The decision to significantly open up the vaccination drive with this rollout for the general public from Monday comes at a time when India could be on the brink of a 2nd wave of infections, as India's cases, remember, have begun to inch upwards. Now, the centre has told states to speed up vaccinations. A list of eligible hospitals where the vaccines will be administered has been released. Those eligible have to make their bookings and book their appointments through the COVID 2.0 or the Arogya Setu app. Walk-in registration vaccinations will be allowed if the vaccine dose is available at the centre. However, no vaccines are going to be administered this weekend as the COVID 2.0 app needs to be upgraded. This digital platform will be transitioning this weekend from COVID 1.0 to COVID 2.0. And states have also been asked to strictly enforce SOPs, strict surveillance to contain cases, because remember, several states are showing a resurgence in COVID cases. In fact, India's average daily cases are now higher than it was a month ago at 14,300 right now. So what do you need to know if you're over 60 or if you're over 45 years of age with comorbidities? Let's go across to Arvind Gunasekar. Arvind, where does one go? How does one register? What documents does one need? What do we need to know?
Sarah, the government is gearing up for the next phase of COVID vaccination program. The next phase of COVID vaccination program will cover the age group of above 60 and also those with above 45 with comorbidities. So the next phase of COVID vaccination program for the COVID-19 virus will begin from March 1st. So government has made several changes when it comes to the next phase that also includes walk-in registration. Also, even those people who can directly walk in and they can register themselves and then they can take the shot from both the private hospital and also the government hospital. Earlier in the first 2 phases, we saw only the government hospitals were allowed for the COVID vaccination program. But from the next phase, even the private hospitals are also allowed in this particular program. The 24,000 private hospitals have been selected for the next phase of COVID vaccination program. along with the 10,000 government hospitals. So all those private hospitals that are empaneled under the Prime Minister Jan Arogya Yojana, and also central government and state government health insurance schemes will be allowed for this COVID vaccination program. Though the vaccination will be done for free in the government hospitals, the price for the private hospitals is yet to be decided. What we are being told from our sources is that the price will be announced on Sunday. So coming to the question that you asked, the beneficiaries should register themselves in the CoWIN 2.0 version app. That particular app will be released on 28 on Sunday. That's what our sources are also hinting at. And the people, they need to show either their photo ID card, including electoral voter ID card, and also Aadhaar card, and also other government ID cards to be an eligible beneficiary. So that's something that relates to the public. And also what the big challenge before the government as of this moment is that government had an estimation of somewhere around 3 crore, including the healthcare workers and also the front care workers in the first 2 phases of COVID vaccination program. But as on date, only 1.7 crore vaccination has done. That is less than 50% has done. So that's something, a big challenge for the government to bring the people for the COVID vaccination program. So the government has advised the state government to speed up the program so that the vaccination program can be done across the country.
I just want to check, it seems to be very tech heavy. So people above 60, we're guessing elderly people who may not have that much comfort when it comes to applying online, etc., they will be allowed to go in for this. That's why they have the walk-in option?
Yeah, Sarah, they can go directly. They can go to the vaccination center, and then they can show their ID card, and then the person who will be there, that particular person will register them on the CoWIN 2.0 app, and then they will be getting the shot.
All right, somebody will then register them on the app right then and there. Thanks so much. Thanks, Arvind, for clarifying that. And the other big story in the midst of all of this, elections in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, West Bengal, Assam and Puducherry will be held from the 27th of March, and the results will be announced on the 2nd of May, the Election Commission said today. Bengal will vote in 8 phases: March 27th, April 1st, April 6th, April 10th, April 17th, April 22nd, 26th and 29th. Tamil Nadu and Kerala will vote in a single round on the 6th of April. Puducherry will also vote on the same day. Assam will vote on the 27th, April 1st and 6th. The Model Code of Conduct is now in place in all the states, and this is the first major set of elections to be held in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic after the Bihar elections.
Poll schedule for 4 states and 1 union territory announced. After the Bihar Assembly polls in November last year, this is the biggest election exercise during the pandemic with 18 crore voters. All polling officials in these states will be given COVID vaccinations.
On the recommendations of the Commission, Health Ministry has already declared all our poll officials as frontline workers for vaccination. Then only in the headquarters, it will start from the, let's say from the MTS, the helpers, and the Commission will get vaccinated in the end.
While Kerala and Tamil Nadu are seeing a surge in COVID cases, the poll panel is hopeful the elections will see a good turnout. Voting has been extended by an hour to avoid crowds.
Nodal health officers are also appointed at the state district levels to ensure all related arrangements and preventive measures during the entire electoral process. A separate SOP is there for the COVID-19 patients.
The Election Commission is examining the new guidelines issued by the government on social media and likely to incorporate and issue fresh guidelines to avoid misuse by political parties.
CBSE's exam schedule being pushed to May compelled the poll panel to hold elections to all the states in April itself, though the tenure of the assemblies expire in May and June. In New Delhi, Arunachalam Vaidyanathan, NDTV.
And the Election Commission's announcement that the West Bengal polls will be held in 8 phases has raised eyebrows. Remember, the entire 2019 general election was done in 7 phases. Now, while the EC has declined to say whether the voting has been stretched out over concerns raised by the BJP, which rules at the centre, but suggested that security played a role in the consideration, Mamata Banerjee has not held back. Questioning the move, the West Bengal Chief Minister has asked, who is benefiting?
The time for photo ops is over. The battle of the scooters here has just turned into a deadly one for the ballot. The 33-day-long polls starting 27th March have beaten all records. There were 7 phase polls in 2016, ditto in 2019. This time, for the first time, 8 full phases. Mamata Banerjee making no secret of her suspicion that the poll schedule was dictated by the party in power at the centre.
Now, whatever I came to know from BJP party sources, whatever BJP have decided, as per BJP requisition, I have seen their list in the party office, and today I have seen the same list is been in the outside. I am really sorry.
The Chief Election Commissioner did confirm his concerns about Bengal's record of poll violence.
The current kind of charges and counter charges. Charges को एक तो लगा ही था, charges तो सभी एक दूसरे पे लगा रहे हैं. तो we have to find a kind of mean way out.
The BJP has welcomed the dates.
इलेक्शन कमीशन ने 8 चरणों में बंगाल का चुनाव की घोषणा कर दी है और सभी राजनीतिक दलों की मांग थी कि इसका स्पैन बढ़ाया जाए क्योंकि सेंट्रल फोर्स के डिप्लॉयमेंट में थोड़ा समय चाहिए.
Already 12 companies of paramilitary forces are on patrol. A total of 125 companies have been allotted to Bengal already.
The reception of the poll schedule by the Trinamool Congress is likely to send political temperatures in West Bengal up. The Chief Minister, seeking a third term, played it cool and confident.
In Kolkata, with Saurav Gupta, Monideepa Banerjee, NDTV.
And the Aam Aadmi Party's chief Arvind Kejriwal was in Gujarat, Surat today for a Thanksgiving roadshow after his AAP party's dream debut in Tuesday's civic polls, denting the Congress. And he had a message for the BJP: make way for AAP's entry into Gujarat politics.
A Thanksgiving rally by Arvind Kejriwal after the Aam Aadmi Party's dream debut in the Gujarat civic polls, where the party won 27 seats in the Surat Municipal Corporation.
गुजरात के लोग संदेश देना चाहते हैं कि वो इन दोनों बड़ी पार्टियों से तंग आ चुके हैं. गुजरात के लोग कहना चाहते हैं कि इन दोनों पार्टियों की राजनीति को हम खत्म करना चाहते हैं.
Not surprisingly, the ruling BJP swept the polls in 6 municipal corporations in Gujarat, winning 483 out of the 576 seats. In Surat, the BJP retained power by winning 93 of the 120 seats, but the remaining seats were won by the Aam Aadmi Party. The Congress, which had held 36 seats in the Surat civic body the last time, was reduced to 0 seats and replaced by Arvind Kejriwal's party as the main opposition. Contesting the Gujarat civic polls for the first time, Aam Aadmi Party had fielded 470 candidates.
मैं आज आपको यकीन दिलाना चाहता हूं कि हमारा एक-एक उम्मीदवार जिन-जिन लोगों को आपने वोट दिया, एक-एक पार्षद आपके प्यार पे खरा उतरेगा और अपनी जिम्मेदारी पूरी करेगा.
The BJP hit back, saying, what Kejriwal ji said, AAP got 27 seats in Surat municipal polls. What he didn't share, 59 AAP candidates lost deposit in Surat. Every AAP candidate lost deposit in Vadodara, Ahmedabad and Bhavnagar. 44 out of 48 candidates in Jamnagar, 68 out of 72 in Rajkot lost deposit. But what is behind AAP's impressive performance? The party apparently received support from the Patidar Anumat Andolan Samiti, the organization agitating for quota for the powerful Patel community. The organization was once led by Hardik Patel, who is now the working president of the Gujarat Congress. But according to the Congress spokesperson Sanjay Patwa, the infighting between the Congress leaders resulted in a drastic result for the Congress party.
ये अंदरूनी खींचतान की वजह से लोग विमुख हो गए और सीधा आप पे जाके उन्होंने वोटिंग कर लिया. यहाँ कोई भी लीडर नहीं है कांग्रेस पार्टी का और ना प्रचार किया. कुछ कैंडिडेट जितने भी कैंडिडेट थे वो स्वयंभू अपना चुनाव लड़े हैं.
After emerging as the leading opposition party in the Surat Municipal Corporation, the Aam Aadmi Party is trying to establish itself as a third option in Gujarat politics.
but will they be actually able to do so? Only time will tell. In Surat, with camera person Praveen Jirohit, Sohit Mishra, NDTV.
And if that wasn't enough, there are big business headlines too. Today, India's GDP expanded to 0.4% in the 3 months ending December after contracting for 2 consecutive quarters. This is according to government data released today. This marginal revival in the nation's gross domestic product comes as economic activities have resumed after lockdown and overall sentiment improved with the rollout of the vaccination drive. This could help India exit an unprecedented recession, though a surge in coronavirus infections does pose a new challenge. India is among the few major economies to post growth in the last quarter of 2020, but the recent resurgence in COVID-19 cases in select pockets of the country is a cause for concern. But the manufacturing sector and the agricultural sector appear to be the bright spots in this marginal GDP increase. At 1.6%, the manufacturing sector turned positive after 5 quarters. And agriculture growth has posted the highest in 3 quarters, clocking a growth of 3.9%. The Agriculture Ministry has attributed the increased food grain production to good monsoons last year. However, the BSE Sensex crashed about 1,940 points to post its biggest single-day fall in nearly 10 months, and the NSE Nifty plunged over 568 points to crack below the psychological 15,000 mark, tracking global sell-offs triggered by a panic in bond markets overseas.
The steep hike in US Treasury yields of about 1.5% shocked global markets as investors dumped equities for bonds. Global investors feared an uptick in US inflation and interest rates, and this led to intense selling in US stock markets, which had a spillover effect on global equities. The Indian stock market fell 3.8% today and posted the biggest one-day fall in at least 9 months. Nearly 5 lakh crore of investor wealth was wiped out in a single session of trade. After the plunge on Wall Street, Asian shares tanked nearly 3%, and Indian stock markets soon followed, with the Sensex tanking over 1,900 points and closing at 49,099, and the Nifty tumbling over 500 points and closing at 14,529. Banking and financial shares remained the worst hit in what was a sea of red for all sectors of trade. Experts believe higher US interest rates will mean large fund flows may begin to exit emerging markets now.
And expect ordering food to cost more in the coming days as taking the unrelenting fuel price hikes into consideration, food delivery firm Zomato has revised the remuneration of its delivery partners, and with another food delivery giant Swiggy to follow suit. Zomato, however, claims it hasn't yet passed on the cost to its customers.
A hike in delivery fees for 1.5 lakh plus Zomato food delivery partners or agents to compensate for rising fuel prices. In these tweets, Zomato founder Dipendra Goyal said increased fuel prices has meant extra spending of at least 600 to 800 rupees a month by each partner to deliver food, an average 3% of a delivery partner's monthly earnings. For now, the cost burden of this hike will not be passed on to the consumers, the Zomato founder has said. Manoj lost his field executive job during the lockdown when his previous firm shut down. Rising fuel prices have meant the food delivery job isn't working out either.
एक्सपोर्ट इंपोर्ट में कंपनी में काम थी हमारी कंपनी थी वो लॉकडाउन के चक्कर बंद हो गई तो इसलिए ज्वाइनिंग किया हमने स्विगी में अब स्विगी में पेट्रोल के दाम बढ़ने के कारण इसमें भी खराब हमें छोड़ने पड़ेंगे उम्मीद आ गई अभी तो कोई उम्मीद है नहीं स्विगी की पैसा बढ़ा रही है नहीं बढ़ा रही लोगों ने स्ट्राइक भी करी थी स्विगी ने लेकिन उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ा.
Zomato's biggest India rival, Swiggy, has also indicated that it will hike delivery fees for its agents too, a move that will help people like 32-year-old Rahul Singh, who says all his savings have dried up due to the hike in fuel prices.
अभी हम 1.5 घंटे से ऑनलाइन हैं 1.5 घंटे में एक ऑर्डर बजा है जो 20 रुपए का ऑर्डर और 6 किलोमीटर बाइक चला के 3 किलोमीटर अप किया 3 किलोमीटर डाउन किया
और कमाई कितनी हुई?
कमाई 20 रुपए की हुई है.
In just year 2021, the fuel prices have increased 23 times in the country. For petrol, the hike has been of rupees 6.67 in less than 2 months. And while some companies are taking measures to provide some respite to their employees, the effect of high fuel price is going to trickle down on the entire economy soon.
With camera person Sushil Rathi, I'm Akshay Dongre for NDTV.
And finally, in a push to tourism in Jammu and Kashmir, the Prime Minister inaugurated the second Khelo India Winter Games in Gulmarg and said that the event is a step towards making Jammu and Kashmir a hub of winter sports and India's presence felt in the international Winter Games arena.
Bringing together sports people from across the country, the Khelo India Winter Sports, inaugurated by PM Narendra Modi, a 5-day event in Gulmarg, which will see over 1,000 young athletes from Kashmir to Maharashtra participating.
मेरे युवा साथियों, जब आप खेलो इंडिया विंटर गेम्स में अपनी प्रतिभा दिखाएं, तो ये भी याद रखिएगा कि आप सिर्फ एक खेल का ही हिस्सा नहीं है, बल्कि आप आत्मनिर्भर भारत के ब्रांड एम्बेसडर भी हैं।
For these young players from Team Karnataka, the special treat is that they will be performing on the breathtaking slopes of Gulmarg. It's changing their perception about Kashmir.
Anything what you have heard about Kashmir and what you see on the ground?
The things we heard before, but it's better than the things we heard.
Okay.
Yeah.
You must be enjoying weather or you feel cold?
Too much.
Huh? Feeling too cold. Feeling a bit cold?
Yeah.
Yes. So it's a fun for these young players who have come, most of them have come for the first time to Kashmir, enjoying the slopes of Gulmarg. Here, large number of people, but there is a problem. There's less snow this time because of the improvement in weather, and it is not sub-zero now in Gulmarg, so that there would not be games in different disciplines. But nevertheless, it is like a festival. Large number of players and coming to Gulmarg, and Gulmarg slopes have come alive.
As Gulmarg hosts the second Khelo India Games, the centre is now planning to set up a world-class facility in Kashmir to train athletes from across the country for winter sports. In Gulmarg, with Nazreen Masoodi, Joshua Chin for NDTV.
From Karnataka to Kashmir, many for the first time. What an experience that must be. Well, that is the news at 8 at this hour. Thank you for joining us.